This is DBrief, brought to you by the Australian Industry Group.
Hello, I'm James Scotland, General Manager of Supply Chains at Australian Industry Group, and I'm with Louise McGrath. Hello, Louise.
Hi, James. How are you?
We're here today to talk about our brand new podcast, DBrief. It's your monthly briefing on industry policy and development in Australia. It's a monthly podcast dropping the second Friday or so of each month, and it's a monthly briefing on the news of the day. Or so I've been saying. Is that a bad play on words, Louise? Should I never say that ever again?
Well, yeah, it's probably not the news of that day, but certainly of what's addressing or what's keeping the industry development and policy team busy for the month. So I'm head of industry development and policy at AI Group, and our role is what it says on the box. It's to develop industry at large and help industry understand what is coming down the line that's going to affect their business, but also what are the opportunities for them to adjust to. But we also do policy and advocacy. So we take their interests to government, to regulators. And so with all that work, we have great insights into all the different things that are going to affect a business.
And yeah, that's right, because it's how it affects business, isn't it? There's a lot going on, and it's really tough for business people to understand what it means for them. You're in a unique position of having all these tentacles happening, and we're going to bring it together each month. It's called DBrief, and we're going to talk about the 3 Ds. Tell me about that. What are the 3 Ds and how to become to that cleverness?
Well, James, our team has really deep experts on a whole range of things, whether it's climate and energy, circular economy, yourself with supply chains, defence, primes, defence industry, construction, and standards. And what we found was that whether you're working on building code, board decisions and advocacy, or you're working with plastics and recycling, or a whole range of things, that there were 3 common themes that brought the whole team together. And that was the way we help policymakers and businesses address the 3 big challenges for the transformation of the Australian economy over the next decade. And that is digitalisation, decarbonisation, and diversification. So shorthand, the 3 Ds.
Oh, aren't we clever? DBrief is a briefing on the Ds. We're just really laughing at ourselves, basically. We think we're clever. Tell you what, though, I'm really excited about being involved in this project, Louise. I've been involved in business for 25 years. I've been a consultant and advisor for 15 plus after that. And this sort of information has always been helpful to me. I've learned, you can say it this way, I've learned to manage the micro of business, you've got to know the macro of business, especially in times of rapid change and transformation. And I think it's pretty clear that we're in that type of situation now.
That's right. So even if, the digitalisation agenda doesn't directly affect you, it will affect your customers or affect your suppliers. Similarly with decarbonisation, speaking to a lot of small companies, they're thinking, well, that's not really our problem. That's big companies. They have to do their carbon footprints. But those big companies are going to come to you and ask what your carbon footprint is because they need to report on it. So it's not a case of, well, that's someone else's problem. It's actually all our problems today.
Yeah, and that's the secret of supply chains, because all of a sudden businesses say to me, hey, I've suddenly been asked about modern day slavery, or I've suddenly been asked about what's my carbon footprint, or what am I doing about reducing my carbon footprint? And one of the things about net zero is that the big companies say, well, we can't get to a positive, we can't get to plus no carbon. So we need you to be as low carbon as possible because we've got to carry some weight. And they're surprised by it. What we're having to do with this podcast is say, don't be surprised by all this stuff. Let's be aware of what's going on as it comes down the pipeline, if you like.
And that's why diversification is one of our Ds. So I think everyone could quite easily accept and understand what digitalisation and decarbonisation is. Diversification is about supply chains. It's diversifying your export markets, your import sources, but it's also thinking around diversity on all sorts of things. Those who make decisions, those who have input to the decisions within the company, but also diversifying your business model to reflect the fact that we are moving into a new digitalised, decarbonised world.
Yeah, I'm so excited about this. Tease everyone, Louise. What are we going to talk about in our first episode in a couple of weeks?
Well, there's a lot going on, so it'll be hard to choose, but probably it'll be around artificial intelligence. We expect some guardrails to be announced coming up. On decarbonisation will be around that energy transition, so how companies are managing their industrial transformation, because the big change in the Australian economy, if we are to get to net zero, will be in the industrial sector, not consumer and household sector. And probably we'll talk about elections. It's a year of elections this year. Over 40% of the world's population is going to vote. So we're looking particularly at our two neighbours, India and Indonesia. We don't think there's enough coverage in the general media, and we'll talk about why you should pay attention to those elections.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be great. I'm serious when I say I'm excited about this project. I think it's going to be a great podcast. It's going to be fascinating every month. I'm so glad that you're involved with it, because your background makes you the perfect person to help me understand what's going on. So let's talk in a couple of weeks. I hope everyone enjoyed this intro to our new podcast. We hope that you'll join us each month for DBrief, the monthly podcast on industry development and policy. I look forward to your company on the 15th of March.